Welcome to Psychology Refresh. Today we're going to go over the 8 reasons why people hate INTJs. Make sure to watch each one and find out if you are doing any of that. If you're an INTJ, you can have some discouraging behaviors which make it so difficult for some personality types to enjoy your company. This is mostly because INTJs are unique individuals with very characteristic personality traits. If you think you are an INTJ, dive deeper into your personality. Learn what are the things that make others hate you and determine how you can use them to increase your soft skills and achieve personal growth. Here are the 8 reasons why people hate INTJs. Number 1. They enjoy exchanging facts and opinions. As much as INTJs despise being incorrect, they like a good debate. In fact, the INTJ regards arguments as a logically instructive approach to either teach or learn new information, in contrast to their feeling counterpart, the INFJ, who might become extremely uncomfortable and disturbed in times of disagreement and conflict. They enjoy presenting good evidence to support their claims, and they want the same from the other party. So if you're fighting with an INTJ and depending on your gut instincts and emotions to back you up, you can bet your arguments will be dismissed. While certain extroverted personality types enjoy a good indifference discourse, most people would rather avoid it because not only can an argument with an INTJ be scary, but they're almost always correct. Number 2. They are often cold and distant. No matter what the situation, INTJs are built to choose logic above emotion. This isn't to imply that this is always a bad thing, it does make it easier for INTJs to solve problems. Nevertheless, this personality type is so blinded by emotional elements that they evaluate logic and rationality to reach conclusions, even if emotion is one of the most important aspects at play. They might not see the danger in suggesting someone who has recently lost their pet to simply acquire a new one. An INTJ can recognize the emotion in a situation, but they don't always take it into consideration while giving the most rational advice. They don't always understand why others need a shoulder to cry on or an ear to vent to. They assume that if someone comes to them to chat, it's because they're searching for logical solutions. This can lead people to believe the INTJ is dishonest or even unpleasant, which is obviously not the case. Number 3. They are difficult to understand. INTJs are tough to comprehend and have a strong sense of self-sufficiency. When you live in a society, there are times when you need help from others and times when others need help from you. That's just how the world works, and there's no shame in acknowledging that you can't always sustain yourself. An architect's personality does not fit into this category because they are already emotionally aloof, and relying on others would require them to express their feelings or admit that they require assistance. Furthermore, because INTJs' faces often lack expression, whether it's wrath, happiness, grief, or anxiety, it can be a source of friction, particularly in love relationships. If you try to read their facial expressions, you will be unable to understand anything. This personality type is extremely excellent at masking their feelings and maintaining a neutral appearance. If you are enjoying our content, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell. Number 4. They can be quite pessimistic due to their analytical nature. The nice and fluffy acquaintances you call when you want to hear what you want to hear aren't INTJs. Instead, the architect will give you exactly what you need to know, as well as the best logical answer to your problem. There's no sugarcoating, no false hope, and no emotional calming. They recognize that life can be difficult, but emotions and false hope simply serve to distract them from accomplishing what they truly need to achieve in a given situation. They won't tell you your spouse is a terrific partner if they can see all the ways they're failing to meet their obligations. They're also not going to tell you it's okay that you lost your job when you know you need to get a new one in order to pay your rent that month. Some individuals can appreciate this INTJ trait for what it is, because honesty and rationality are becoming increasingly rare these days. In reality, most people aren't prepared for the truth, and a negative outlook will only exacerbate the situation. Number 5. They can be overly critical. Because they are too obsessed with arranging, correcting, and polishing everything, this personality type does not have time to express their emotions. This is both a good and negative thing. Their perfectionist mentality has no bounds, thus their constant evaluation has an impact on everyone around them. If you have an INTJ friend or family member, you will understand what we are trying to convey here. If an architect enters into your room, it will take them less than 10 seconds to analyze the entire space, its setup, and how you should arrange your possessions. Is their critique, however, valid? That is the true question. If you think about it, the criticism is well-intentioned. They genuinely want you to improve as a person. The person behind most other people's criticisms is envy or animosity, but you can always count on the INTJ personality type not being envious of you. They merely want you to improve, so they urge you to work on whatever part they think needs improvement. Number 6. They can't stand logical fallacies. Because INTJs see difficulties' answers so clearly, they can't understand why the rest of the world is so blind to them. Not only does the INTJ struggle to relate to those who lack a strong sense of reason, but they can also become irritated and unnecessarily harsh with those who disagree with them. An INTJ can't help but argue that emotions have no genuine basis of evidence if someone makes a decision based on how they feel, as the INFJ would. People may feel as if their feelings aren't recognized as a result of this intolerance for illogical behavior, and emotional validation is one of the most important foundations of connection. In other words, after being shut down for their sentiments, it can be difficult for individuals to feel obligated to befriend an INTJ. Number 7. They have extremely high standard for everything. INTJs are perfectionists, but they are also aware of the world's and people's flaws. As a result, they prefer to exert as much control over their surroundings as possible, knowing that the more they make things happen rather than allowing things to happen to them, the better off they will be. Unfortunately for this introverted and very independent personality type, their primary goal is to improve themselves, which means they are willing to sacrifice their time, connections, and even income in order to do so. They can't work with others because of their perfectionism, thus they don't rely on people for anything. In fact, most INTJs regard most individuals as unfit to hold the same degree of life standards as they do. They require everything to be organized, planned, and done in a very exact way, which makes working with an INTJ incredibly challenging for some types who require a bit more creative flexibility. Number 8. They hate being corrected. True, INTJs despise being wrong, however, they generally do know everything for this intuitive and analytical know-it-all. When they're confronted with someone who believes they're wrong, they can become rather adamant because they almost can't believe it themselves. In fact, some sources indicate that INTJs are preoccupied with being right, but only to prove to themselves rather than to impress others. While most INTJs welcome debates in the hopes of proving their point, they aren't afraid of being proven wrong as long as they have accurate information that they can utilize to expand their knowledge. Regardless of why the INTJ is defending their logic, some people can't stand a know-it-all whenever they meet one, and INTJs are about as near to a know-it-all as you can get. These videos will be really helpful for you.